Ever just totally lose yourself in a book? You know that feeling? Hours disappear, and you come out the other side like, whoa, where am I?
Yeah.
This text, it nails that feeling and got me thinking about AI and learning. It's almost like instead of a good hike through the woods, it's poof, you're at the top of the mountain, no journey.
What this text really brings out is this tension that's building, right? Between how easy AI makes learning and what happens if we don't actually exercise those brain muscles.
Yeah, it's like all shortcuts, all the time, but is there a hidden cost? There's this phrase they use, mental atrophy. Kind of made me nervous, honestly.
It's a powerful comparison, right? Stop using your muscles, they get weak. This text argues our minds, maybe they're not so different. Too much reliance on AI to do the thinking.
We're trading in the mental gym for a comfy couch. Let the AI lift those weights.
Exactly, and they're saying this could be a big deal for how we develop really crucial critical thinking. There's even an example in here about students, right? Using AI to get around the hard stuff instead of grappling with it themselves.
Oh man, I've totally been there. You start scrolling for the summary instead of reading the whole thing. It's so tempting to just skim, Get the gist, move on.
Right, and what's so interesting is the text goes on to unpack what we might be missing when we do that. All those good cognitive benefits, the stuff we get from being really engaged, from really putting in the work.
It's like, I don't know, reading a restaurant review versus actually tasting the food.
Exactly. Think about it. Reading, summarizing, debating, those classic make-your-brain-work activities, research shows it's not just about school stuff. That's endurance, attention span, making connections, things you need no matter what you do.
Like that nailed it feeling when you finish a killer Sudoku, right? It's not just a game, it's like legit brain training. And there's some really interesting research this text mentions that actually backs that up.
Oh yeah, cognitive neuroscience stuff. They're using brain imaging now, and they can see that when you're doing deep reading, the kind that demands your full attention, it lights up the same parts of your brain linked to empathy, to emotional intelligence even. And this is where it gets really interesting. They introduced this term, digital dementia.
Okay, yeah, I gotta admit, that one kind of freaked me out a little bit.
It's definitely a conversation starter. Now, the text makes it clear this is a debated idea, but it brings up some really important questions about, are there downsides to relying on technology too much? We're basically outsourcing some of that thinking, and these experts, they're worried it might, backfire on us,
Not good.
Affect how our brains develop.
It's like I use GPS for everything now, right? And the other day, I completely blanked on how to get to my grandma's. Had to pull up the app. It was embarrassing. But this digital dementia thing, this is even a whole other level, right?
Right. It's not just for getting directions. It's this idea that when we lean too hard on tech for memory, problem solving, that stuff, it could actually stunt the growth of those cognitive muscles we were talking about. If you use a calculator for everything, you might forget how to do basic math in your head.
Yeah, and it's got to be bigger than just knowing your multiplication tables, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is about critical thinking, being able to really analyze information, come up with creative solutions, even on a personal level. I don't know, if you're always relying on autocorrect, could that mess with how well you express yourself in writing?
Man, I never thought about it like that. To be fair, though, the text doesn't just, go all doom and gloom on us, does it?
No, not at all. It actually gets into some, I think, more optimistic territory. AI isn't the bad guy here. It's about figuring out how it can make us better thinkers, not replace us altogether.
Okay, so less Terminator, more like a really smart sidekick.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where AI helps us work smarter, not harder, Think of it like you wouldn't use a bulldozer to plant a garden.
Right, tool for the job.
Exactly.
So how do we make sure we're using AI the right way then? When it comes to learning, how do we not accidentally, just hand over the wheel?
Well, the text has some really cool examples of how this could actually look in practice.
Yeah.
Imagine personalized learning platforms that adapt to exactly what you need, or AI assistants that go through tons of research so you don't have to, and you can just focus on understanding it.
It's like having a superpower study buddy. That's awesome.
Right. But the text also says, be careful, don't get too comfortable.
Right.
It keeps coming back to balance, being really aware of how we're using these technologies, making sure they're lifting us up, not holding us back. And that actually brings us back to the heart of what this text is about, this idea of the learning journey.
It is different, right? When you finally crack that code or finally understand something difficult, there's no shortcut for that feeling.
That feeling, it's built into us, To want to learn, to want to grow, that's what makes us human.
This whole deep dive is making me think bigger picture now. The text focuses on us learning as individuals. But what happens when AI is doing more and more of the thinking for, like, everyone? It's like we're about to cross this bridge, right, into this whole new world, and we're still figuring out, like, which side of the road we're supposed to be driving on.
It's a big question, right? What happens when AI can do more of the, I don't know, the routine thinking for us? Does that free us up to, like, really push the limits in other areas?
What could we achieve, right? Yeah, if all that mental energy was freed up, that'd be amazing.
Right. And the text, it actually touches on something really important. It's not just what we're learning in this future with AI, but it's how we even learn to learn.
So, like, how do we stay curious, even when we have all this information at our fingertips?
Exactly. It's those human skills AI can't replicate. Critical thinking, being able to adapt to anything, emotional intelligence, being able to really connect with other people. That stuff becomes even more important when AI is doing some of the other work.
Finding that balance again. Right, like, okay, AI can do this, but we got to keep challenging ourselves too.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, though, are we ready for this? How do we even prepare for a future where AI is, like, baked into everything?
That's where it gets really interesting. It's bigger than just each of us figuring it out alone. It's like we need to rethink how we teach, how we learn as a society. What if we focused on creativity more, collaboration, critical thinking?
Instead of just memorizing facts, we're teaching people how to think for themselves.
Yeah.
How to solve problems, be innovators.
Exactly. And maybe even more importantly, just fostering that love of learning, the kind that makes you want to explore just for the sake of it. That's something special, that's human.
This whole deep dive has been pretty mind-blowing. It's not just that AI is changing how we learn. It's like, if we do it right, it could unlock all this potential, We could really do amazing things.
Embrace the unknown. Be ready to adapt and never lose that curiosity, that sense of wonder. Those are the things that make us who we are.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And for everyone listening, as you're on your own learning journey, think about this. If AI takes over all the routine stuff, what incredible things will we be free to create? That's something to think about.